Hey guys, I hope you all are well. This video is going to be on day 2 of our week 7 lessons. It will be under 10 minutes just to help guide you through some of the resources here. So first, our objective for today is a continuation from that day 1, which is students will read and analyze an informational text in order to learn how authors weave together various subtopics in order to create complex arguments. So what we're really looking for today is the language the author uses and the cause and effect structure that he uses in his writing. So for day 2, the second part of our lessons this week, we're going to be looking at 2 important elements from Simplexity: vocabulary and context, and cause and effect argument structure. These 2 writing and reading devices are key ideas in understanding this work and applying this work to our Unit 4 question. So for part 1 of today's lesson, the author, as you were reading, the author weaves scientific words and phrases that we might not be familiar with into this text. I don't know about you, but when I read it, I noticed some of the scientific language, and sometimes some of the words stumped me a little bit, but I was able to understand the basics of what he was saying because of the way he connected those scientific ideas to real life. And so for the first part of our work this week, we're going to look at how he did that. We're going to clarify maybe some words that we didn't catch and identify words that we did. So he does this clarification of these words by really incorporating broader context clues into his writing. For part 1 of our assignment, we're going to go to this worksheet here that I've linked for you, and that looks like this. Let me scroll up. So the directions here, vocabulary, practice, and apply. You're going to explain which critical vocabulary word that I've provided in the list is the most closely associated with each idea or situation. So the words that we have listed here are chaotically, reallocate, turbulence, proximity, and propagate. So you have a series of 5 questions that you're basically matching the word to. What's important for this part of the assignment, do not just write the word. The why is the most important part of this assignment. To be able to connect those ideas and how you connected it is an important part of our learning process and how we increase and improve our vocabulary. So moving on to part 2 of our assignment, you're going to be close reading the excerpt for cause and effect relationships and explaining how they relate to our human nature. You'll complete the second part of the worksheet, filling in some columns with these relationship ideas. So let's go back to our document and take a look at what we're going to be looking for. So in part 2, I give you a detailed definition of what a cause and effect argument is. So that is the main structure that the author uses here to support his main points. So to give you an audio understanding, a cause is an event or an action that directly results in another event or an action. An effect is the direct or logical outcome of an event or action. Basic cause and effect relationships include a single cause with a single effect, one cause with multiple effects, or multiple causes with a single effect. And it can also be a chain of causes and effects. The concept of cause and effects provides a great way of organizing a piece of writing. It helps an author or a writer show the relationship between events or ideas. Moving down the page, I give a little bit more detail here from your book about that chain of cause and effect and how authors use it. So use this for reference if you have any questions about the writing style of cause and effect. But now it's time to apply that in this portion of the assignment. So the writing activity is an analysis of what responses during an evacuation tell you about human nature. So you're going to write this analysis using evidence from the text as well as your own experience. So I want to clarify here, this is one of the rare assignments, I don't need quotations from the text. If you are addressing specific points, I will take your thoughts, and you don't necessarily need text evidence. But it does need to be referenced from a part of the writing. So I wanted to take a moment to model this for you to give you an idea of what this should look like. So we have column 1, cause, explained in the text. So this is something that happens at the beginning of that chain that causes something else to happen, an effect, right? A cause and effect. So when I was looking at the book and reading this passage, let me go back to the textbook here, sorry. One of the passages that stood out for me was this quotation here on line 72, page 131. For another, all of us have a tendency to believe that the rest of the group knows what it's doing and thus will gravitate towards a more popular exit simply because other people have chosen it. So I thought that this cause was a really good statement on human nature. And that's the first selection that I'm going to examine. So you'll note here, I said we tend to be followers and trust in what other people do is the best choice. Well, that brings me to the effect of that. If we are being followers, if we are doing what other people are doing, right, not using our own brains, what is the effect of that here? So for simplicity's sake, I have a second document here. So the effect of that is that instead of seeing other choices or thinking of better solutions, we do what the people around us do. Now, the third column is about what this tells us about human nature. And once again, for simplicity's sake, I have it, my response in a third document. What this tells us about who we are as people and as human beings is that although it is in our nature to be followers, sometimes this can be dangerous. Sometimes the solutions are not in what other people are doing, but are in our own creative abilities. So that is an example of how I pieced together a cause, an effect relationship that was presented in the text, and then was able to relate that back to our main question about what it tells us about human nature. The only other thing I want to do here is make sure that I've gone back to my textbook and cited the page number that I got this from, because although I didn't use a quotation, I still need to reference where I got my information. So I got that information on page 131. And that's as simple as that. If you have trouble with this, please reach out and let me know, and I can help you work through it. But after you've completed this document, your next step is to go back to the It's Learning page and turn it in. So I do have a link here for you to turn it in. And then finally, there is a poll closure here for this week's lessons. Good luck, and I hope you all are well.